Okay, I'm live. I'm live. Um, I was having some technical difficulties on the original link that I set up, and I'm hoping that you guys make your way over here. Actually, let me take this off. Remove. Meet me on this link. All right. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get started as people make their way over here. I was having oh, hi everybody, you made it. This is working better. Okay, I don't know what happened. It went live, but it didn't go live, but then I saw you guys coming in, so I didn't know what was happening. My apologies, it's just technical stuff. Welcome to today's daily tune in. This is Thursday. Got some fun things while we kind of make our way. You were frozen on the usual link. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Um, I had some fun stuff going on. So I want to share this really quickly because this is all part of um, when we talk about the 5D lifestyle, 5D, what the hell is that? It's our soul lifestyle. And there's so many things about building this life out that is so exciting to me and yet so familiar, but I got away from a lot of that stuff. And so tonight at like five, which is I come on at 4 here for the daily tune in. We have friends coming over. We met these amazing people like quickly. And every night so far we'll get a text, and later in the afternoon, everyone goes off during the day and does their things. They do their work, or they like friends of ours have a restaurant they're opening and they're working with Bud on that because he used to be an executive chef and are wanting his input on things, and he's going to go help them paint tomorrow. So it's like we got this whole like social life. It's so exciting. But I want to tell you why that's share, not tell. I want to share why that's so exciting because it's really, really meaningful. But so every night late in the afternoon, they'll text us and be like, we're like, what's going on? And they always come over to our house. They'll have a couple drinks and we'll sit around, and we're all older now, so we just want to go to bed early. So by like 8 o'clock, they go back, and Bud and I watch our show. I fall asleep on the couch. And, it seems so mundane, but oh my gosh, y'all, like millions and millions of years ago when I was first married to my first husband, we had the house that we were always hosting people, and I loved having people over to my home. And then our marriage started going south and we started downsizing and just life went haywire. And there were many, many years where like I never had the house where I invited people over. I don't want to do that unless I don't know, I guess I didn't realize it, but I didn't want to be fake and invite people over and have this like weird marriage and try to put on a show. And it just like I wasn't inspired to do so. So when Bud got and I got together, we got this our tree house in Austin, and it was like, the perfect scenario to invite people over. But that 3D world was so busy that like it just was like too much. And we'd have people here and there, like friends over maybe once a month. But it just was so exhausting. And I was so bummed because I'm like, man, that's a big part of who I am. I love inviting people into my home. And but like part of what we wanted was to have that home and to have the lifestyle where we had time for all of that. We could invite people, and it wasn't something we dreaded, but it was simple. And I found that like I'm now moving into that, and it's just tickling my soul to no end to have people come over here and not have to put on a show. I didn't have any napkins, so I ripped off the roll of napkins and cut it into squares and still made the little twirly stupid thing out of like cut up towels, and I just paper towels. And I don't care. I'm not here to make a show. I just want people in my home. I want to host you. So you all are invited. Like you got to get your stuff here. You got to get yourself here. But I have 2 extra beds here, and I would love to host people here and immerse you in this world because I'm finding all of the coolest places to like, get something a little bit different, but the things that you need. For example, I promise I'm getting somewhere, but I'm just like, so excited. I want to share this. I love essential oils. I was running out. I love finding local oils because there's so much, like local meaning like regional areas, I guess. But I found some oils and they are from Karachi, Pakistan. And I think that's the coolest thing that I'm in a part of the world where I can use oils um, from from like a completely different place. The energy of this place is in this oil. That's what I love about oils. It's nature in a bottle. So the energy of wherever it's grown. That's why I stopped using kind of the bigger brand um, oils, because the energy of the companies and some of the decisions that they were making, I was like, oh, I don't want to. The energy is so important to me, and I want it to be natural, and I want it to be just real energy. I don't want it to be some manufactured energy, or I don't want it to be some, mass pushed stuff, shit, basically. So, anyway, I'm super stoked. I finally found my oils here. And when you come to visit, I'm going to take you and you're going to get some oils too, hopefully, if you like that stuff. So, oh, and we came back with a dog too. His name is Pepe. He went on our walk. He was a little street dog, and he followed us for 4 miles all through town. Every time we went into the store, he would sit outside the door with Priya, our dog, and then he followed us all the way back in. And y'all, he's so sweet and he's so well mannered. I invited him in against my husband's wishes. So Pepe's out there laying in the sun, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but I'm quite okay if Pepe ends up staying. So big day today. Lots of developments today. And I got this light that's just hanging out here. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about our relationships. And I'm going to share really vulnerably with you on how this has unfolded in my own life in a couple of different ways. I've had quite a few people, both on our calls and in Ascension Bank members, and just in conversations, and even in messages I've gotten on Instagram, where people have talked about, what do I do if I have relationships in my life that they're not in this verbiage of ascending. They don't believe it, they don't know it, they're not aware of it, they're not wanting to be aware of it. I'm growing and I'm changing and I'm evolving, and this or that relationship is not. And we have, when we're on social media and we're looking at different things about ascension, there's like this fluffy part of it. And it's like, oh, purge your densities and what's not serving you. Like, this is the when you get rid of what's not serving you. And that we know intellectually what that means. But when it comes down to actually having to look at the densities and really discern what is for you and what is not, it changes everything. And it makes this ascension process really real. And the relationship part is the part that, I said in the description, the struggle is real. It really is. And I want to share from my own perspective 2 different examples of relationships that I've had to, I don't want to say deal with, but I've had to experience in a really hard way. So I'm going to share from my heart. I hope that's okay with you, because these were some of the hardest things that I had to face in this journey. But first, I made you a little diagram because I want to kind of come back to this a little bit to give you a visual of empathy and compassion. And the reason why I say this is because my guess is, if you are here, you are no doubt a natural empath and are extremely compassionate of a person. An extremely compassionate person. Empaths are the most beautiful, in my opinion. We are the most beautiful people because we are the lovers of the world. We are the ones that bring the dogs home, right? We are the ones that just love on the people. We don't care. We will love you. Even if you take advantage of us, we will still love you. And we will keep giving you chance after chance after chance. And we will just stay with you until you wake up. We want to help you grow. We want to give of ourselves, and we do it so much to a fault in most cases. So I wanted to show you this little diagram I made. And this is, if you think of this as like the scale of empathy, okay, this is where we are. And most empaths, unfortunately, are in the dysfunctional end, so to speak, of empathy. And this is dysfunctional because we tend to give more than is healthy. And listen, like there's this, we keep hearing, or not we keep, but we've heard, patience is a virtue, empathy is a virtue, and it is in a healthy expressed way. Empathy and compassion are some of the most beautiful gifts that we can give. But if we give too much and we go over into the dysfunctional place, this leads to codependency. So you become codependent on giving love because that's who you are. And somebody who might not be able to completely receive the love, but they feed from it, will keep giving you what they have to give in order to receive your love. Okay. I'm going to come back. I'm going to give you an example of this. Okay. And then you have the other side, which is radical empathy, where you just give to everybody. You give and you give and you give, but you neglect yourself. That too depletes you. So both ends of the empath's spectrum will deplete you of energy, which leaves you diseased and will eventually live to, not live, will eventually lead to being diseased in some way and unhealthy. The virtuous and balanced place is right in the middle, where you do give. Sometimes you give a little more, but sometimes you have that boundary and you realize you have to have a boundary of how much you're willing to give to someone. And this goes to your next door neighbor who annoys the piss out of you, but you just keep loving her. You're like, oh God, Gladys is coming. Here comes Gladys, and here's, I'm still going to give her my heart and I'm going to give her my time, but she drives me crazy and she talks about, the CVID all the time. And I'm just so tired of having that conversation. And she's going to tell me about all of her grandkids. But I'm going to give of her. I'm going to give of her. So sometimes you give a little more until you have to put that boundary up. This is where healthy, virtuous empathy resides. This is where we are in the 5D, in the soul led life. We are beautifully and virtuously empathic and compassionate to others. This is how you get filled. This fills you so that you remain a beacon of light, but in a healthy way. Okay, so I'm going to keep coming back to this because I learned through my own mistakes, or whatever, if you call them that, my own gifts of empathy, that relationships can be some of the hardest things to really discern fairly for ourselves when we are on this path of ascending and growing and evolving our souls, and we're empathic. And I'm going to tell you first a story about my ex-husband. And I come here to you, like, this isn't like drama, bad things about it. This was my experience with him, and this is what I've come to learn about this. And we had 14-year marriage, and it was bumpy for majority of it. And I've shared on here already, 3.5 years into it, I walked in on him with another woman, and but I was empathic and like and I, and forgiving, and yes, I was very hurt, and yes, I was very betrayed, but quite frankly, majority of my not wanting to leave was because I was too afraid. I couldn't be a single mom and I couldn't work and raise my kids all by myself. So underlying all of that, it was a dysfunctional reason to stay. But also, I did want to try, and I did want to save my marriage for my kids too. So there was this, this dual thing going on. And we worked for 5 or 6 years, and in those 5 or 6 years, our whole the health of everything in our life went downhill. And that included our financial health. We lost a house. It included just our relationship health. And in the same time, I needed to heal myself. I recognized that there was a lot of dysfunction that I had in the relationship. So I started to go to classes and courses in a spiritual center that I was led to in Southern California. And it was like my saving grace. And for 5 years straight, I took classes and just learned about spirituality, and I started to grow. And then I got on the path of becoming a hypnotherapist. And then I started to build confidence. I started to grow. And then right? So as we grow and as we expand, we start to then see things for what they really are, right? The truth bubbles up. And I could see more and more that this relationship was not going to be fixed. It wasn't going to be healed. It was not serving either one of us. And it wasn't even serving our children to stay together for them, because then we would just stay together. And eventually, over time, I knew, I could see that we would just do it for the show and become more and more unhealthy. And kids can feel when you don't love each other, because like they can. They're much smarter than we think they are. And the thing that I did not want to model for my children was a loveless partnership. I wanted them to see love. I wanted them to see passion. Passion meaning like you can fight and you can, and it doesn't have to be dysfunctional. You can disagree. And at the end of the day, you come together and make dinner and be like, cheers, we got through that. And that's what they were able to see with eventually with Bud and I. But with my former husband and I just knew it wasn't going to ever be healthy. And at that point, I had to make the call. And I basically said, I got to make the call. There's an elephant in the room. We both know it. We both feel it. I think it's time to talk about divorce. And we weren't ugly with each other. It was just we weren't loving, and we just kind of knew. And I didn't want to I wanted to experience love like I had read in freaking Danielle Seal novels. I wanted to experience love like I was writing in journals about. And long story short, a couple weeks after we started to have the talk, he started to complain about pain in his body. 2 years later, we were still together and he was nearly paralyzed. He was using a walker, like, the old people, use. And after many, many doctor's visits, after a lot of stress, and y'all, from the very beginning, I knew about this stuff. Like, I knew what we're talking about here. I knew about it. And I kept saying, I don't think this is a physical thing. I really think this is like, we've just talked about divorcing, and, abandonment stuff's coming up and fears coming up. And what are people going to think coming up? Like, I think this is like a mind body thing. But and I agreed with him too. I could understand. And he kept saying, I cannot be in this much pain in my body and have it be mental. So we went through all of the things. We were in Southern California. We went to Beverly Hills, for God's sake, and went to this neurosurgeon in Beverly Hills, who finally did, I mean, many, many thousands of dollars worth of tests that we couldn't afford, but we were so desperate for an answer. And he finally came out and he handed us paperwork and said, you need a good therapist. You need a good life coach. And he said, there is nothing wrong. This is a mind body thing. And I share that simply because of this, you all. I should have, there's the should, but looking back, knowing who I am now, when I said we, start going into divorce, that should have been it. I had made the choice. I knew where we were going, but when he started to get more and more physically paralyzed, I couldn't, like, there was still this man. Like, I didn't love him in that way, but I still freaking love him. Like he's my buddy. Like, he used to be my buddy. And because I was in this phase, I didn't know about this. And I was giving way more over here. I was giving way more empathy for 2 extra years, taking care of him and helping him cope with being paralyzed. and helping him cope with depression. Because when a healthy man goes to where he can't walk and he can't play with his boys, he got very depressed. And I share this because this is how I learned how dysfunctional empathy does not work in our favor. Staying in a relationship because you want to help constantly, you want to save someone from themselves. I wanted to help him get out of this. I was, getting my hours for hypnotherapy. I wanted to be his hypnotherapist, and I did a couple of sessions, but then I learned why we can't, as healers, as therapists. I can't say we can't, but there's the shouldn't thing. It is not in our best interest or theirs to be their healer, to be their coach, to be their whatever, because we are in a dysfunctional relationship, right? Giving too much empathy, giving too much of ourselves, and in return I was receiving, because he was still working and I was still a stay-at-home mom. That was my job, as I was still building, a hypnotherapy practice, and I was writing a book and, doing a lot of my own creative things. And he was supporting that, and I was grateful for it. So we had a lot of dysfunction. So if you're in a relationship that you feel like you have to save that person, I wanted him so badly to come along with me, mostly because I didn't want to face what I had to face if he didn't, right? I knew that if he didn't come along with me and like grow with me, there was no way. And I could see the writing on the wall. I knew it for years, and I didn't do anything because I was certain that I could love enough to help. I could love him enough to help him grow. I could love us enough. But that love was dysfunctional because it was more, I can do this. I can save this, because I was more afraid of what would happen if I had to face that maybe we were not going to be growing in the same space, which would eventually is what it came down to. And I had to look at myself and with a lot of freaking truth and honesty, and finally just say, like, dude, you got to figure out how to live on your own, and you got to do this, and because I can't do it anymore, I've got to leave. I felt like a jerk because I was like, I'm out of here. And he could barely walk. A month later, after we had that conversation, he started to walk. That's a whole different thing. But at the end of the day, we can spend a lot of time in the unhealthy places in relationships because we are giving of ourselves way too much. And we are the ones that want to pull these people along into the 4D and the 5D. We want to be the ones that teach them. We want to be the ones that save them. We want to be the ones that heal them. But in most cases, we are too intertwined. Even if it is a healthy relationship, many times we're too intertwined to really be able to see from their perspective a completely non-judgmental perspective, to still be their healer or be a therapist or whatever. So all of that to say, if you are struggling with a relationship, some of the best things we can do is release the relationship. And I'm not giving you advice, but I know from my experience with my husband, my ex-husband, that when I finally energetically released him, a month later he was walking. 3 months later, I was moving out into my own place to become the single mom that I was so afraid of for years to face. And it ended up being where we just kept expanding, expanding, expanding. And a couple of years later, Bud came into my life, and I had all of the things that I had journaled about, that I had read about, the romance, the passion, the creativity together. The dreams started to come together, and here we are. But that whole thing, the having to finally admit that we were completely dysfunctional because I was wanting to give too much and he was wanting to give too much just because we didn't want to face a lot of the other things. That is the thing, that is the small nugget that will keep you in a relationship too long. And if you don't know, you're like, but what if I'm not sure? The best thing to do, I mean, I don't know if the best thing to do, what I see now, what I would do, and I've already told Bud, I'm like, honey, we are not like, there's, if things go south, I don't stay around long. We're just going to go our separate ways and see if we end up back together. Because if you end up back together, we end up back together, that means we are meant to be. Same thing. Here's the second example that I'm going to share. And this one's even more vulnerable. And really, and I'm in this one now, and I've mentioned my boys, I've mentioned the story, but I haven't really told you all of it because it has to do with this. And when we started, Bud and I started to plan this and move forward with this whole journey of leaving our life in Austin to go somewhere in the world to find a home that we couldn't really explain to them, I finally got to a point where I was like, oh my God, I'm asking these two boys to trust more than anything in the world. And of course they trust me. Of course, I know they do. But to try to get two teenage brains that could barely remember to clean themselves and to brush their teeth, I'm asking their brains to wrap themselves around moving across, the world to a place that I didn't know, but I was sure it was going to have a view and I was sure it was going to be awesome. And isn't this the greatest adventure? And when I started to see how they were kind of responding, they were like, "Yeah, okay." And then I could see that they were not excited. That's when I had to look at this, okay? So here's what I had a choice of. I was in I was in this place of radical empathy because I wanted them to come with us and I wanted to build this dream with them and I wanted them to have a say. But what I was really giving them was dysfunction. I was asking too much of them and I didn't want to I was being dependent on them being with me ultimately so I could have control and keep them away from their dad and all that goopy yucky stuff because I just didn't think that he offered the same house and the same healthy household that I did. But I am not the judge of that. I had to let my boys have their choice. And some people will say, well, that's a pretty adult choice. And I said, it's not between me and your dad. It's what lifestyle do you want? Do you want to walk into the unknown and not know really where we're going? Because babes, I can't really tell you. I just know it's going to be exciting, but I'm asking a lot of you. Or you can go to your dad's where you know what you're going to get. You're going to get, I mean, in our language here, you're going to get the 3D life. You're going to go to high school, you're going to do your thing, you're going to play your video games. But what I knew I offered is when finally got settled, that I would give them the other part of that. They could have the 3D life, but they would have the travel piece. When they come here, we are going to go all around. My kids are going to go to Greece and Turkey and Italy because we can take a ferry there, like they will get the travel part that I wanted them to have. However, in radical empathy is not healthy. And I was being too radical for them in loving them and wanting to show them the world. I was trying to bring that into manifestation and say, boys, I've always told you I wanted to show you the world. Let's go do it. But I was doing it in a radical way. So I had to make a choice. I had to choose. They both said in different ways, I think I want just the security, mom, like mama, like to call me mama. I got it. But I will tell you in that freaking moment for each boy to say, I respect your decision. And to know that I had to then stay in this virtuous place and continue to fill this so I can be better for them, which meant I had to walk away, not walk away that I'm not their mom, but physically walk away from them and get on a plane halfway across the world. But I knew, we know here where we're going. We are the pioneers. We have a bigger vision. And when we have a bigger vision, we can go set up camp there, right? And let these beautiful people that we have had to like not energetically, but just kind of physically let go so that they can finally see what we are offering, what we are talking about. We've got to go create it. So then when they see it, they're like, "Oh, I get it. There are so many people in this world who can't see. That's not a bad thing. It's just they haven't opened their eyes yet. Everyone will eventually, whether they see it our way and want to come join us, which is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to God that my kids see it my way, not my way, but they understand and they see the perspective that I'm seeing and they're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. I get it now. I want to come." I don't know if they're going to come live every day, but I want them to be able to say, "I'm going to go to my Albania home and I'm going to go, and I have this cool California home, you know? My ex-husband's probably never gonna see it my way. I don't like, I let him go, and he is probably not gonna circle back around to my world, right? So sometimes we do have to choose if someone is holding us down in this world of the 3D and it's getting painful, but we love them so much. Sometimes the best thing we can do is fucking release them so that they, excuse my language, but I have to say it. We got to release them sometimes so that we can go and do what we need to do, and they can then we can help them see differently. And once they see, then they choose. And if they choose what we like, then they can rejoin us. It's that whole adage of, if you love something, let it go. If it's meant to be yours, it'll come back. Y'all, I had to play that game with my kids for this damn journey. That's how much I trust in this journey. And being empathic doesn't make it any easier. It makes it almost harder because we love so goddamn much that we just want to give of ourselves and we want to help everybody, but we can't. We have got to help ourselves first. So if you have that relationship that's just gnawing at you because you're like, damn it, I don't know what to do. I love this person. I don't know. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm telling you, in my life, I have lived it. I am in it. The best option has always been to let it go and to keep going, not to descend into, poor me or whatever. It's to ascend, to keep ascending, because ascending is the most attractive thing we can do for our energy. And who doesn't want to be back? Who doesn't want to be around someone who's got attractive energy because they're just happy and they're joyful and they're grateful and they're blissful and they're peaceful, right? Like people want that. And if they don't, it's because it's just too much dissonance with who they are. And quite frankly, if you are here and they are here, you kind of don't want them around anyway, right? So now that I'm building this life and I have friends coming over and I found Turkish oils and I got this dog that I'm trying to figure out, but I kind of love what I'm doing because I'm finally found a place that I could call home and find my little nooks and crannies of things. My joy is building, my love is building, my peace is building. And if my boys come in here and they're like, this sucks, okay, like, I don't know if I want to live with that anyway. And I know they're good and I know they're happy and I know they're, like they're doing what they need to do. They're healthy. But if they do come here and they're like, oh, I want more of this, there's 2 beds here. And boy, oh boy, I will find a bigger place for us so they can each have a bedroom if need be. I want nothing more than them to be here, but I want them to be here when they are ready to be virtuously grateful and loving, and they see what we've done. And when we can all, Bud, the boys and I, and the dogs can all meet right here, we've got something like crazy good. Because I've lived in both sides of this, and this is crazy not good, crazy unhealthy, dysfunctional. Both ends of this are dysfunctional. So this is where the discernment. Remember, we've been called this week to pause and to breathe our holy breath and to discern. This is where you got to get real with those relationships and with those challenges. And you've got to pause, breathe that holy breath, and simply ask, is this person qualified to have my energy right now? Doesn't mean they will never be qualified, but what that simply means is if they are not qualified, it just means that they are a little too low for you. and they need to go work on themselves. You don't have to be their healer. You don't have to be their teacher. You don't have to be their mentor. We all have our people that will teach us, that will be the seed. And if you can just find the bravery to say, hey, listen, we need to take a little space. I need to go do my thing. You need to do yours. I hope we meet back up in somewhere. But if not, then not. And if so, it's going to be the most beautiful, just the most beautiful reunion. I imagine every single day, many times a day, my boys coming to this place. And it's a reunion because we all had that distance and we all grew and we all looked and discerned at our decisions that we made. And we came to appreciate each other so much more so that when we come together, it is an even next level. It's that 5D level from where we were when we were in Austin, and we were pretty good there. We were pretty darn healthy, but we weren't quite healthy because we didn't have balance. We were busy. I couldn't have people over. When they had friends over, I was exhausted. I loved it. I loved having kids all in my house and ordering pizza, but I had radical empathy and didn't ask my kids to really help with too much. So I did all the work and I was exhausted and I was like, we're not doing that for another month. When really I wanted a life that was peaceful and easy so that we could have kids coming in and out all the time. And it is still my goal. Always tell the boys, this is going to be the place where you bring your friends for spring break and you come and like you have a good time in freaking Albania and Greece and you've got a home base here. So I shared a lot of my personal story because I want you to see different examples of how these principles and these fun fluffy memes we see on Instagram about ascension and it's so beautiful. It's not always that beautiful and there are some hard decisions that have to be made. And yet when we make them from that virtuous, empathetic and compassionate place, we can find that place of bravery and courage there to release anything that is holding you back at this point, including the people you love. Doesn't mean you're breaking up and fully. It just means you're just taking some space to go, you're up potting, you know, when you have a pot that you can't grow, your plant can only grow as big as that pot. And relationships are like they're a container. They are a consciousness in themselves. And when something expands beyond the container, it can't expand anymore. It can't grow. So if you can just find the courage to up pot yourself into an environment, into a space where you can grow, your roots might just come down here and pull these roots back up with you. That is the chance that we take, but that is the ascension process. That is evolution of ourselves. It's the evolution of soul. So please, feel me on this. I understand where you are. I am in it too. And I think probably every single one of us are in a place where we have relationships, or at least one where we're like, man, this one's a hard one. This is a tough one. The tough doesn't just go away. We can't wait for a solar flash to take care of it. We can't wait for the ships to come in to sail us off to wherever we might be going, if that's even a thing. We've got to look at the stuff. We cannot wait and just say, well, it'll take care of itself, because it won't. This is your job as a light worker. This is your job as a beautiful soul on this beautiful journey of ascension and evolving your soul. Okay. I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you. This is working better. Okay, good. Frozen. Good morning. Hi, everyone. We have a lot of people. Hello, all of our Ascension Bank members. Man, you guys, I loved our conversation. Was that last night? Wait, Wednesday. Yeah. That was beautiful. I love you guys. Carly, Christine, I think I can connect if you're on there. I'll explain how yesterday. Wonderful. Thanks for the invite. Let's see. I didn't know I was an empath until last year. Trauma as a file had me completely shut down. Now it's like, to use your words, a tsunami of emotions that I'm experiencing. Yeah. Being an empath is like, you have joy, But as an empath, you're like, it's this big, when it's like normal people, not normal people, but normally it's like this. For us, it's like this. So when you have pain or anxiety or worry, it's this big. When it's usually like this, we just everything is magnetized. Emotions are magnetized. So yes, I can understand, Jessica. All of a sudden you're feeling it and you're like, what is that? And oh my God. But they're all like that. Joy is like that, So joy is just as overwhelming. Peace is way I haven't had much experience with peace in my life. Like I've been down in the bottom levels of anxiety and worry. So I know that shit really well. But peace, since I've been here, has been completely overwhelming for me too. And I know that sounds weird because you're like, oh my gosh, you're like, all I wanted was peace. But like at this point, there are days where I'm like, okay, this is too much. I need a little something to like have to work through. I need a little something. It's weird. Like, that's a whole different new thing for me as well. Um, Tara says, I didn't know I was one either until about 2 years ago. The amount of emotion I experience now is crazy. I feel everyone's stuff. Yeah. And that's the thing for us empaths, so especially now because we are feeling a lot of collective stuff. So what we feel is magnetized because a lot of times it's not completely ours. So if like if I'm with my family and we're having like an amazing time and I can feel their joy and Bud's joy and the dog's joy. Like even that is a lot, right? That's like, oh, I got to pull it in. Like, and that's when we have to understand how to pull in our own energy, right? So even feeling those bigger like peace and joy and happiness, this again, it can be unhealthy. So sometimes we have to pull it back to put this boundary up to be able to stay in that grounded, centered peace and joy. So it goes both ways for both like the yuckier stuff we feel and then the exciting stuff we feel. It took me 57 years to be comfortable. Now a few years into setting better boundaries, so many years of overgiving. Yeah, me too, Christine, man. That's a lot. My heart, like even now, I can feel it. I can feel like this on, it's not anxiety. It's just like my heart being like, yes, thank you for talking about this because we've done a lot. Like my heart's like, I've done a lot of carrying a lot of stuff that was not ours, but you didn't get it. Oh, there's Pepe. Hold on, I'm gonna grab him. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Okay, so I don't know if wait, let me just get this way. Don't mind the clothes. This is Pepe. Hi, he's so cute. And then there's Priya, and they're getting along really well. So hi, I know, but he's the sweetest little dog. I don't know what we're gonna do about this. Okay. Yes, too many people are difficult because so many are unhappy. On the other hand, weddings are great because love is everywhere. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I was totally high for 3 weeks. I love it, Jeannie. It's so funny. My whole family is like, oh, sorry about that. Are big Eagles fans. I do the same thing around the word should. Yeah, I hate that word, but I just like sometimes you just can't find another word. But my husband shattered his heels in our early dating days and spent a year in a wheelchair. It was incredibly taxing, but I was so lucky that the healing came and now we have a strong marriage. Yeah, Brenna, like that's some stuff, like that 2 years where he wasn't walking, like it was a whole thing. All right, shut that in case people come over. And especially at that part of where we were in our marriage, like it wasn't working anymore. So that took a lot of empathic love because when you're out of love, but you have to still give to someone that you just like are ready to leave. That was a whole big growth. That was a lot of growth. And as we know, growth is sometimes really challenging. I've been an energy light worker since childhood, nowhere except my great grandma to be with in it. Lost her early in my journey, made it so much harder. It's amazingly wonderful to know. Yeah, to know. I love that. As a mother, I have so much respect for you, given the boys freedom of choice and still walking in your soul path. So inspiring. Thank you for saying that. It doesn't always feel like that. And that's a lot of my work right now. Brenna, quite honestly, a lot of my work is like, my ego wants to pull up sometimes, be like, well, who does that? Why would you do that? But I know I did it, because I have that higher vision. I know exactly. And when I get in freak out mode, yesterday with it was raining and like it felt like the skies were like coming down on me. I was like, and I sat with my guides at one point and I was like, please show me a bigger picture. Like, show me the higher picture. Hey, stop. And you don't listen to me yet, but come on. As I like, but they took me up and they showed me it. They showed me it. And they're like, this has got to be their journey. Because how do we teach our kids to make choices? By allowing them to make choices and maybe making a mistake and being able to say, I made a mistake and I need to change. If we always solve the problems for our kids or we always, make it easy, they have no clue how to even like they don't know how to change. They don't know how to function in the world when they get on their own because they're like, I've never had to change. I've never had to do anything. So I'm trying to do it differently, but doing it differently, as we all know, that makes you feel crazy a lot. I do feel like a crazy mother. I'm heartbroken not having them on this journey. Bud and I walk around here and have these foods like we've watched with them on TV, on like stupid national like shows or whatever. And we're like, oh my God, Riken would love this. This would be totally up his alley, or Dutchie would love this. And like in those moments, we're so excited because Bud and I are eating these yummy foods. And then I crash almost for a split second every time. So I'm like, oh my God, my heart. I want them here. This was the whole point. This is the whole point, to be able to have them eat, freaking olives for real in the place where they come from. And they're everywhere. They hate olives, but they would try them because that's what we do. So this is the hardest thing. Being I'm not saying like, I don't know, I'm not saying I'm like the best mom, but trying to be a good mom and being a conscious mom and like going even above that. Conscious mom is not like, oh, let's, use oils, and not like being a conscious ascending mom is looking higher and being like, okay, I'm going to do things that people don't really do because I can see that it's in their best and highest good, because my kids, your kids, have their own soul's journey. It is not ours to tell them how to live it. It's my philosophy. I don't care. Like, you don't have to listen to my philosophy, but this is where I'm at and this is what I believe. And I believe that they have to have their own journey, and they had to have their own journey with their dad, because no matter what I wanted to tell them about their dad, they have to have their own experience with him. And he might be the best thing for them, right? I don't know. I'm hoping I'm hoping that I'm the best thing for them. They finally say, you know what? We do want to go. We want to come with you now that you're settled. Now that you have a cool house. Now that like whatever. You have a freaking dog. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's like you're talking directly to me. I've been struggling with this exact issue. My husband is my best friend, but I don't think we are in love any longer. I told him that our season may be over. Yeah, Jessica, I feel you, sister. If you need to talk, I'm here for you. Like, any one of you can reach out to me, and if you need to chat, I'm here because I know that feeling. I saw quite a while back that keeps playing in my head that seems appropriate for this message today. I do not chase, I attract. Yeah. Yes. Right. That's what we are. Like, that's, how can we be the beacon of light? What's a beacon of light? And I think, Tara, you may have said that on one of our calls. Somebody said about and I know Trish has mentioned this, like, to be the lighthouse. The lighthouse doesn't go out and get the boats, right? The lighthouse just stands there like a beacon of light, and the boats are like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. That's all our job is to be this empathetic, beacon of light, who will go a little further than we want to for our kids, or a little further into the radical empathy, but still keep some boundaries so we don't get dysfunctional. From this place, we are that. I should have put a little beacon of light or a lighthouse, but we just have to be the lighthouse and attract people to us. That's what's happening here with like these people that we're meeting. They're such beautiful people, and they end up coming to us. They come to our place, which I am happy with, because I would much rather be in my comfy pants on my own couch, having comfortability of being like, oh, let me get you, actually, I don't say let me get you things, because I don't even want to do that. I just am like, this is my home. There's nothing here that's off limits to you. I don't have anything valuable anymore. So if you want something, just go get it. Go find it. Like that's the kind of host I am because I don't have to take care of you. I mean, I will definitely take care of you. I love on you. But if you need to find something, you just go find it. But that's what's happening. I told Bud the other day, I was like, people are coming to us, honey. This is why we've done all the work because it just makes it easier for people to come to us, And I'm happy about that. So, yes, I'm doing my best to be more attractive and have people come here. That's why I invite you all here because you have to do the work to get here, but you come here, I will take care of you. I will take care of you. And I'm going to take you to where you get your oils. I'm going to introduce you to little, oh my God, he's on the bed. I hope that doesn't come in. I'm in trouble. So, right to get to where we feel power. I find it challenging to meet my teenagers in this divided world. Amen, sister. I don't have any advice on that because I'm in that as well. Yeah, and I mean, raising teenagers at this time of the world. Oh my God, like we chewed off a big one on that one. Any one of us that like yes, having kids is a whole thing. No matter when it is, but I swear with like social media and with technology being what it is, and it's just in your face, and then this ascension process, and then trying to be the crazy mom that's telling them about this process, but everybody else is like your mom, like not everyone's so the other parent for in my case is telling them your mom's crazy, and I'm just like, but I'm not, like I'm just wanting you to be healthy. And I think being in another reality on a video game is, you know, not healthy, but I also understand that they're like, I don't want them to be the weird, like, not that they're weird, but I don't want them to be the kids that don't have access to it. So managing all of that was so much work, but I miss it now, y'all. I miss the chaos. It's been nice to have a break, to breathe and understand that I was doing the best I could, managing all of the things. And yet I want that back. I'm so ready to have it back. Everything you shared resonated so deeply and helped me in so many ways. Infinite gratitude. Thanks, Carol. Um, Thank you. There's a bird out there. I don't know if y'all can hear it. It's so the sweetest little bird. It's just chirping away. Tara says, my dog is staring at the TV screen saying hi to your pups. Oh, hi, little pups. A sweet dog, such a sweet dog. He really is. Pepe's a really cute one. Cute puppers, you've got to let go of that mom guilt. I know, but y'all know how hard that is. And I would tell you the same thing. And I'm working on it every single day, 13,000 times a day. When I see something really cool and I immediately think of one of my boys, I'm like, oh, so and so would love that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like it makes me feel guilty to enjoy this new life that I have, but it's like so overpowering and joyful that I can't not. But it does stop me quite a bit. It meaning the mom guilt that's like, oh, don't go too high because then energetically, and here's something else too that is happening is I feel energetically, now that I'm here in Albania and I'm kind of through that like dark night of the soul thing, the growth that's happening, it's like I'm afraid I'm growing further from them, right? Energetically. And yet, this is the power of consciousness, y'all. And I've talked about this too, but this is really, really interesting. And it's a really cool experiment. I'm a world away, right? But every night and every morning, I take time and I sit there and I beam down at them because they're in 3D. So I know I'm beaming down from, high 4D, maybe. I think maybe I'm in 5D. I don't know. Like, who cares? But I'm somewhere where it's not this because it feels a hell of a lot better. And I will beam just my freaking love down. And like, not in a way, like I will think of us and I will imagine us here and the things that we're going to do. And I imagine being like, boys, I'm going to show you where we get our oils. And they're not going to care and they're going to roll their eyes. But I'm going to show them anyway because they know that they have grown up on oils, like being slathered with oils to the point that in their sweet moments when they get sick, they roll their eyes, they hate the oils until they're not feeling well or they're just like tired, and they'll just be like, Mama, can I have an oil? I'm like, yeah. And I can't wait to go show them this, and they're gonna be like, oh, I don't need to see oils, but then they're gonna smell them and they're gonna see them and they're gonna be like, all right, whatever, and it's gonna be this bonding moment, and my heart just fills, and I get so filled with the idea and the reality that I'm creating of them being here. I don't know if it's every day, and I'm at peace with it if it's not. I just want them here more often than I have, than I have now. And when they are here, I can feel it boil up. That's consciousness. That's me rising up to that reality where they are here. That is what I'm working on. I'm not manipulating them. I'm not, calling them every day, being like, when you coming, when you coming, when you come. I'm doing this in consciousness, and I'm seeing our life here, and I'm rising up and rising up and rising up. And when I get to that point where I'm like, I love this idea, I open that heart and it beams down at them and it reaches both of them because I see it going into their hearts. I see them and I just say, wake up, boys, wake up. Mama's got it. I got it. Like all that stuff that we used to talk to, all that travel stuff, everything I said I was going to, like, I wanted to give to you, I can do it now. I can do it. Come with me. And I'm pulling them in energetically. I'm pulling them in. And that's how we as light workers change relationships. That's how we evolve relationships. Now you don't want to do that with everybody because you have to ask someone's permission to work with their energy. But they are my kids. They are in my care. Therefore, just as you would make a parental decision about their medical decisions, I make an energetic decision for my boys because I know our relationship and I know. So I simply just pull them in every night and every morning and throughout the day when my heart is filled in. You know what else I did that with Bud? Journaling my heart out when I was unhappy in an unhealthy marriage on a beach, just writing out like, oh my gosh, but, one day, and basically everything I wrote was a damn Danielle Steele book that I used to read back in my teenage years, in my early 20s. I love Danielle Steele, and every single romance book she ever wrote was pretty much all of them. They were amazing. I don't know recently what she's done, but like that, I would write that as far as like what I wanted to see in my future, partnership. And when I would get to the point in my journaling where I'd be like, oh my God, I would love that. I would send it out of my heart, beam it out. And wherever that went, I didn't know because I didn't know who to send it to. I just sent it out as a ping for anybody interested in this because this is some pretty good energy. And eventually he showed up and he was exactly. I didn't know what he was going to look like, but he was exactly what I had felt. So I know this practice works. I know this energy works. I know consciousness works. I know raising and getting higher and higher and higher in consciousness works. And that's how I'm bringing my kids home. That's how I'm doing it. Please have faith in what consciousness can do for you. Have faith that y'all know what you're doing. Have faith that it can look really, really different. And many people might think you're crazy. And many people might think that you don't know what the hell you're doing if you lost your mind. I can guarantee you people look at me like she's lost her mind. But then they giggle and they're like, but she sure has fun though. Like people always say, like, you are a different one, that's for sure. But that you sure do have fun. But you know what? Who gets the first invite to things? They want me to come. Like, and I'm not saying that because I'm so cool. I'm just saying, like, see, everyone thinks I'm crazy, but they're like, they want to hang out with me because of this. They just don't know it. And if you have someone in your life that it might be dysfunctional because they're hanging on to this on you, and you finally say, I need to cut that for a minute. I need to go and I need to grow. What do you think? They want that, but they want it in a healthy way. And if you put the boundary up and say you can rejoin me, but you've got to grow a little bit, and however that conversation unfolds, then they can meet you and you can have that equally balanced and harmonious relationship at that point. We're all there. All of us are in that same thing. I'm bawling, and I thank you so much for your truth. It's helping me so much. Asked for a divorce 2 weeks ago, and I feel I'm trapped here with two small kids, but I need to get away without idea where. Oh, shoot, Julia, like, and your mama bear too. Like, you will be all right. I guarantee you. That day that I went and looked at a townhouse apartments, I ended up getting this like rad ass, like not rat ass, like rad. It was like I thought I was like I'm gonna be a single mom. I'm gonna have to go get some shitty apartment, and I didn't want to do that. And we ended up like when it is meant to be, and these are words that we hear all the time, but like I have evidence of it. I didn't have a job. I hadn't worked like a normal job in 7, 8 years. And all like it got like so uncomfortable with my ex-husband. I was like, I got to go find a place. Um, I borrowed the down payment from my dad, and I found this place that was like on this creek that was, and it was a townhouse, so it was like a, so it felt like a home. It was the craziest, stupidest thing. So I signed this lease. I had no idea I was gonna pay my first month's rent. I really didn't. I was like, okay, I got the enough together to sign the lease, but that was in December, and I had my first thing was January, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. But I ended up finding like a temp job that just covered it, and, I just covered what I needed to cover every month. But we stayed in that place, and we could walk down, we could hike down to the creek back there on Bull Creek for Brenna, like you guys. It was right on Bull Creek on 360. And like then I met Bud, and like every night he would come over, and after school we would go down to the creek, and he taught the boys to fish down there. And when it would rain, it would just rush my boy. Like it was the craziest, awesomest thing, and nothing logically looked like it would work when I left my ex-husband and went and looked for a place. And I was like, now I've got to face being a stay-at-home mom. Had never been so afraid. I was never felt so helpless. I had just moved to Austin. I didn't have any family there. I didn't have any friends at that point. So for those of you in the members bank, or the Ascension bank, the members, who my friend Mary, she was my first friend in Austin, and she was that soul friend. She was the one that I was like, can I use you as an emergency contact? That was the first, that was like, I was in a place that I didn't even have someone I could use as an emergency contact. That's how alone I was when I first had to face being a single mom. So Julia, know that you were going to be fine, and I'm going to hold you here, because I know my experience was it all worked out because it was meant to. I was meant to not be in that marriage, and if you know that and you ask for it and you're going there, I'm holding you right here, lady, because I know I know how it works. I know how it works. Just have faith. It will. And I mean, it seems so cliche to be like, just have faith, but you just take a step in faith. It's not like, oh, it's going to all work out. What's my next step? You just take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one. And each bitty step, you just take it in faith, and you'd be like, thank God I made it through today. Thank God. I was like, somehow I passed that credit check. I don't know how I did that, but they let me sign that lease. Oh my God. Now what? How am I gonna pay rent next month? Okay, what do I need? Okay, I need a job, right? I need something. And I didn't have enough. I mean, I barely, make enough doing this, but I'd rather do this and be broke than do nothing, or work a job. But at that point, I was like, okay, I need to get a job. So I just started, was like, well, I don't know what kind of job I like. I don't know what I'm, because that's when the 3D world was really, really painful for me. So I just got a temp job, and I ended up loving temping because I didn't have to stay anywhere for any, amount of time. And I did a really good job. So I was never short. I was offered more than one job all the time. And if I didn't like something, I would call the people and be like, "No, I'm not really liking this." And they'd be like, "We got something else for you." Like, and it turned out to be like, it turned out to be okay. It turned out to be okay. It wasn't abundant. I didn't have tons of money, but I had a place to take my kids behind my house that we could go fishing, and I could sit in a beach chair and have a beer by the creek while they fished. It was pretty abundant. It was pretty abundant, even though I didn't have a lot of this. And I did have help. I had a beautiful mom who wanted me just to be at peace. And she would send money, and she would be like, take the boys out on Friday night on me. And so I had help. People show up when you're doing your best. It's been a very challenging 3 years of decisions and spiritually learning. I swear our lives sound so familiar from the sounds of your past. Yeah. Thank you, Jessica. I'm sad, but so very excited. Sad because I'm so excited for myself, and sad for the kiddos because they'll never have what they thought they had, which wasn't that great when light's exposing it. Yes, I needed this message so much. Thank you. Yeah. Julia, that's my whole thing with my boys too. But here, and I'm not saying but, because I know that too. Like, they didn't know that my relationship with their dad wasn't healthy. What I do know now is they had that experience that looked that looked healthy, but it really wasn't, and then they had the experience of living with Bud and I, which were extremely, I mean, we made dinner every night, like, we did all the things, right? Like, we had healthy. It was healthy, and it still is, but as a foursome living under one roof for a few years, it was super healthy. They know the feeling. So although they didn't have what they thought they did, when you do have that, because you will, because you're going on that journey, when you do have that, they are going to feel it. They are going to know it. Remember energy, you guys. Everything can be felt. And I know my kids, where they are now, I know it doesn't feel anything like what we had. Yes, they've got food and they've got all the things, but I know what our house felt like and in Austin, and it was really good, and it was comfortable, and it was nurturing. So they will know what they will have something not to compare, but that's what my whole philosophy is with them. They have to understand how to feel into things that might look good, but experience the feeling of energy. So we're giving our kids an amazing, amazing education in emotional intelligence and in spiritual intelligence by taking them with us on these pathways that aren't that easy, but are the way to introduce them to changing with a higher intelligence, with being able to manage energy and manage emotions. I was always with my kids saying, how are you feeling? I would go in with oils and put them on their feet and rub their feet and say, tell me how you're feeling. That's why I made those cards. You know, those damn cards I use all the time. I don't, they're actually in the other room with the ladder, I call it the emotional ladder. I'll be like, look at this, like, here are all the feelings. How are you feeling? To the point where they didn't have to look at it. They're like, I feel fine, like, well, tell me what does fine feel like? Where is it in your body? Because I want them to learn, and they hated it. Like, they were so annoyed with it. And as teenagers, they got to the point where like, Mama, stop. But I knew they know. I know they know. So we are teaching them how to live truly, truly healthy lives by sometimes saying, kids, we've got to change so that they don't freak out, because we live in a world where adults can't change because they've never been taught. That's our role as high ascending parents, to teach our kids how to change. And the universe is setting us up with a prime environment energetically for us to change. We have no choice. So we might as well do it. We might as well do it, even if we're messy, because I know my changes have been really messy and really disruptive. Um, but they've also gone and gotten us into a higher and higher expression of life. Okay, I feel like I've talked way too much. Thank you for letting me share so vulnerably. I want to continue to share so that you understand this story and understand that I know where I've probably been and or will probably be where many of you are at this place, at this space. And if I haven't experienced it, I'm sure that my soul picked the one where the experience where I get all the experiences. So if I haven't experienced it, I probably will. And it's getting easier and getting easier to navigate these changes, to navigate these hardships and these challenges, because we know we're only going up, and we just have to go through the bumps and the bruises a little bit to get over that hump. Okay, so thank you all so much. Thanks for being patient as I found a new link. So now I've got to change all my stuff on YouTube. But thanks so much, you guys, for being here. I'm going to go have fun with my friends and have some spinach dip that we made. I'm so excited. I feel official because I've got friends coming over tonight. So I will see you tomorrow on tomorrow's Daily Tune In. Mwah. Have a good one, y'all. Oh, Soul Whisperer. I don't know who you are, but I like your YouTube name. It's a good one.